Welcome to Fighters Drinking Coffee. Today we are here with the hosts of the Strong AF Club podcast, Nate, Craig, and Asim Faez. Guys, welcome on.
Hey, thanks so much. Looking forward to this collab episode, guys.
Absolutely.
This is exciting stuff. And by the way, y'all, so you hear some clanging and banging in the background, just like usual. I hear at Nova Barbell Club, people are putting in work, and today is no exception, guys.
And we're literally sitting in the middle of the gym floor.
Yeah, there's people working out. Right?
People are getting jacked as fuck.
Yeah, people are deadlifting, all kinds of stuff right now. So this is pretty cool. We're in a different location than normal, so this is fun.
We're about that life.
Oh, yeah.
Fully.
Scott's hitting sets in between questions.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I mean, we've got
right.
405 on the
crush that
bench right behind us, so you guys can't see. We're just hitting it.
Watch
It's
me
fine.
crush my throat with this 405.
Taking turns saving each other's lives.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not, it seems.
Yeah.
So wait, did you guys roll today and do your typical coffee? Have you even had coffee today? What have you guys
I've
been up
had
to?
coffee.
I had coffee.
I've had coffee this morning. I did not roll.
I woke up at, okay, so Shane Marshall
Yes.
crushed his fight last night. He's champ now.
Champ.
He's a
Shout
champ.
out Shane.
Cruiserweight
Shout out
champion.
So I didn't get home until 3 a.m.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. But I had like an alarm set for 11. I was like, I'm going to get 8 hours of sleep. I don't give a shit. Woke up at 9. And I was like, all right, dude, I'm up now.
Yeah.
And like, zombie walked my way around, made the coffee. I did have coffee.
Good.
And then I had 2 more shots of espresso. And then I waited. Then I had 2 more shots of espresso.
Good, man.
And now here I am.
Up
Hell
until
yeah.
3 in the
Now I
morning.
can
I was
talk.
hoping so.
Actually,
yeah.
Question. How did Shane do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give us a rundown.
Yeah. All right. Quick and to the point version. Shane's a mean dude. He's just a mean, violent dude in the best way possible. He's the best mean, violent dude I know. Super nice. You all know him. He's the man. But, okay, so for his fight, I said that on purpose, right? Because skill wise, he's developing really, really well. He's working his ass off all the time with Noel, with Charles. He's getting in, and he's working with me and Mike. And like, you guys know this, we have like a bunch of jiu-jitsu black belts come through and train with us on
By the way,
Saturdays.
real quick, sorry to interrupt. How long has he been training with you?
I'm going to say 4 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like, not a crazy long time, a good amount of time, but not a crazy long time. I mean, he trains that 4 years, like full time.
Yeah.
So he's working a lot. I mean, he had combat sports background. He played football. He's an athlete. He's a Marine. That's like, like he's not, we weren't starting from zero with the
Well,
dude.
and he's wrestled almost his whole
That's
life,
right.
too.
Yeah. He wasn't a blank slate, but in an MMA setting, martial arts setting, kind of, but like wrestling. I mean, it's a combat sport. You guys get it. But, anyways, so this was his 6th fight. He came out aggressive, striking really well. His opponent was a really good wrestler. He was better than I thought. I mean, skilled, young, athletic guy. And Shane was hurting him on the feet. But in between banging this dude up, the other dude, when Shane would begin to continue to pressure, would like start to crowd the guy. The dude would like launch in and was getting good takedowns. He wasn't really doing much with the takedowns. He was getting Shane to the ground, but there wasn't much behind it. And this is what I was saying. Like,
You think
Shane's
that was just for points kind of thing?
Well,
like he
I
was
think-
playing,
yeah,
he was just
definitely.
getting rocked and playing the system?
I think yes, but I also think that's how that dude thought he was going to win. Like this, and by the way, if you're that guy, not a bad strategy. Like you're a wrestler, like
Oh,
wrestle,
absolutely.
go win. And then he was taking Shane down. He just wasn't doing much with it. And I've cornered lots of MMA fights. That's something we could talk about. Shane actually was bringing this up to me. So you all should talk about like cornering and coaching styles for MMA versus BJJ. But that's a total sidebar comment. If we get bored, guys, we can always get into that.
Absolutely.
Anyways,
There's so many things we can talk about, too.
But like, I had a reason for bringing that up. I started being funny. What I was going to say there was that, fuck it, whatever. I'll just get back to the rant. So, dude's taking Shane down, but this is what it was. He wasn't inflicting any damage. And like, I've been to MMA fights where like, I've watched guys out grapple other dudes in MMA fights, but don't land significant strikes, don't land damage. And that's I think it's the most significant like gradient of when you get to referees' decisions, they measure damage.
Like that guy looks beat up.
Oh, he got beat up. Yeah, spoiler alert. Like it ended rough for the other bro. Shane won definitively, but
Nice.
well, anyways, the guy's taking Shane down, but he's not really causing any damage. Shane's actually striking this dude off his back everywhere. Like I said, Shane's just mean, dude. He's just like, I'm going to hurt this guy. He was going to find a way to win. That was kind of, for me, like my overall analysis of what Shane did a good job at the entire time was that he just was there to hurt this guy the whole time. He's like, I'm going to find a way to win. He kept hunting. Well, and as I said, like on the feet, he's causing damage. Other dudes not really producing any significant striking. The guy was throwing too. It wasn't like it was nothing, but it just wasn't as impactful as Shane's. But the dude did not want to bang with Shane on his feet, so he kept on dragging to the ground. And again, he did a couple times successfully. Shane kept fighting out, but he just was constantly looking for ways to win. Well, third round, Shane is in half guard bottom because the guy, like, you know, Shane comes out. And this other dude, like athletic, young, gasses out. By the third round, he was there. First 2 rounds, the guy was like fast, sharp, was like moving his body well. Was when he went to execute these takedowns, he did it like pretty well, pretty like impressively, good timing, like bringing his whole body into it. And Shane told us it wasn't like it was a big strength advantage, but the guy just knew how to move and use his body. Like, there's like a good amount of athleticism to that. So, anyways, third round, Shane's still hitting the guy. The guy rushes another takedown. The guy does get it, but this time Shane's on his back half guard, catches him in a Kimura grip. He's up in the corner right next to me and Charles. Like I'm looking at him like I'm looking at you guys. We're like face to face. And he locks eyes with us and we talk him through the steps with this Kimura grip to take it. And I'm looking at my eyes. I'm like, you are going to keep this grip. Dude. Like,
Don't you let
go.
go.
This grip. You keep this grip. And so there's like this moment in half guard where I'm like telling him, like, if you shift your hips, you move your body, this Kimura goes from just like something that's going to lock this guy down, freeze him up, which you're on your back, like at the bare minimum, that's super valuable, right? Guy can't hit you if he's like basically holstered with this grip.
Right.
Goes from that to it becoming like an actual weapon. Well, he does it. And then about 4 or 5 seconds later, pop, snaps the dude's arm. Dude, I mean, obviously you should have tapped.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You should have tapped. But those videos are wild.
It was gnarly.
Yeah.
So real quick question. You said it was Shane's 6th fight, right?
Yes.
Do you know how experienced this other fighter was?
The other guy was 2-0.
Okay.
Local guy. Yeah, not as experienced, like younger. And I imagine his team was like trying to like build up a rising star career
whatever,
kind of thing. And I don't think they did enough research on Shane.
No.
They didn't, because that's a tough fight for this dude. And his prior 2 fights were against dudes not
the same
anywhere
caliber.
in the same league as Shane.
Okay.
Yeah.
What weight class was this, by the way?
This was
I forget.
cruiserweight. So Shane usually fights 205. He went down to 95.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Coach Asim.
Yeah,
Dude.
that
Have you
was-
seen the side-by-side pics?
Yeah,
I
dude.
did. Yeah.
They were
That
nice,
was-
dude.
He looks so lean and mean.
Hey,
Dude,
he told
it
me,
is
he was telling us, because like this was like by the 3rd round, this other younger guy, by the way.
Straight out of college, D1 wrestling.
Yeah. Tired.
Tired.
And Shane was like, I felt good.
Can you
Yeah.
actually, on that note, Asim, can you kind of tell us what did you sprinkle into his conditioning to kind of
Yes,
prep for
tell
that
us.
cut? Tell us.
So,
without giving away all
giving
the
away the
free,
mojo.
For sure.
the free
So,
stuff.
barring the taper that we did for the last 12 days to get him to the weight, because keep in mind, 5.5 weeks ago, he was 227, almost 230.
Big boy.
And he was like 194 on weigh-in day. He was 196 that morning when he texted Charles and I before he went there to weigh in. So that morning he woke at 196, 1 pound over.
Surgical coach.
No food drop, no nothing. It was just, we're undefeated with these weight cuts.
Charles was telling me on the drive down too. He was like, dude, you're so calm for a guy who's
Yeah.
been cutting weights. They got caught in traffic and Shane was
Yeah.
like, meh.
Like, why don't you
Yeah, because
cuss at me?
we didn't starve him. We didn't do any of that. It was just pure water manipulation, but also on how we kind of tapered out the lifting. So he maintained his strength, but we broke up the training into 3 blocks. Block 1, brutal strength and power. That's all we did. The second block, undeniable cardio. And then the third block
I
was
love
the
these
taper.
adjectives. Brutal strength. Undeniable. Relentless
Absolutely.
cardio.
Dude, did you see my fight to win?
Yeah.
By the way, I was in his ears and I told him, I was like, hey, $20 for every slam, $100 if you put him in the ceiling.
He
Because that
listened.
ceiling at fight to was so low. So I had side quests. I had every fighter there going for a side quest. Anytime someone saw someone going for a throw, just know I put a bounty out.
Asim's making it rain. He's making it rain.
I was Venmoing the whole night.
Let me
You gonna slam him?
I like this.
Yeah,
check
it
your
was-
Venmo.
Exactly. Yeah, screw that purse. We're gonna get more. But no, so essentially broke his camp up into 3 sections where we focus on just strength because we want to get stronger and fortify his body. Then we went into cardio because now it's go time. We can't really spend too much time in the strength phase because if we do that, then we go into a taper. He's just gonna be too beat up. So we need his joints to recover, go into that cardio phase, and then when we taper, his joints should be recovered. So by the time he comes fight day, he's gonna feel completely recovered and get ready to go.
He's good, man.
Yeah, I was about to say, apparently at work.
I saw
last workout was
like
Tuesday.
2 hours ago, man, and he's like just munching food. He's like, I feel fine, dude.
Yeah,
He's like, my body's fine.
Yeah, he texted us, I think it was the morning of that later that night, about how his weight jumped back up. And he was like, I'm not 195 anymore. He's like, I'm not going to tell you guys what I am, though.
Probably 215.
Yeah.
Probably 215.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He fills Instagram. He wouldn't crush tacos. So
Dude, he looked
some
mean in
tacos.
those photos that are all around Instagram.
Oh,
When he had the belt
He had
around
abs,
his flex.
dude.
Oh,
He had abs, man.
He
He
looked like
was
Captain
awesome.
America.
Yeah, he really does.
Yeah, so that's essentially how we structured that. The dude, I mean, perfect soldier. Everything
Perfect
you guys
soldier.
told him to do, everything we told him to do, it's just everything to the T. No
Perfect
hesitation.
soldier.
That's
Literally
awesome.
been eating the same thing every day.
Really?
Yeah, without fail. It's hilarious.
Oh, geez.
Like egg
Again,
whites or
shout out
some
to
crazy
Shane. That is
shit.
wild. How much did he end up cutting? 20, 30 pounds?
Yeah, so he went from 227, 230-ish to 194 weigh-in day in under 6 weeks.
Jeez. Hey,
Without
making
cutting
Shane right now.
cutting food. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Because that's something you guys talked about in one of your podcasts previously is weight cuts, especially for jiu-jitsu, because it is different than MMA. And where do you cut out food and when do you cut out water and which one is more beneficial? Because in my opinion, cutting out the food too early just kills your energy because it takes longer to replenish those glycogen stores than it does to replenish water. So I think water manipulation is way easier to come back from. Whereas if you just deplete that food all week, you're faded.
The fatigue sets in too.
Yeah.
The fatigue comes on quick when you cut weight. If it's not done the right way.
What you've done a lot of fights. Both of you have.
I've done bad weight cuts. I've done a lot of in between weight cuts and some good weight cuts, coach. And
Yeah.
dude, and it's
Get a room, boys.
well, you know, it's like I remember when I was like
where's their hands?
early on when I was a black belt and I was like doing a bunch like these were like more on the shittier end of the spectrum for weight cuts. It was a lot of like dieting and you just have this meathead mentality of like it's just gonna suck. I'm gonna train through it, it's gonna suck and you're like, fuck yeah, dude. Like
Sucking is part of the
Embrace
process.
the
If it
suck.
doesn't
You do,
suck,
you
it
do.
doesn't count.
you do. And maybe I remember some of that kind of being valuable, but like that ends fast to where you're like, yo, man, it's just
I'm
like,
over it.
yeah. Well, and like you're also when you lose weight, depending on how armored up you are, like you become more injury prone.
Absolutely.
Like I remember cutting like actual calories for weight cuts, and I felt brittle. I would get injured.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because you become like a beef jerky at the end of that. You know, you're just so easy to break. And that was also I think 24-hour weigh-ins versus day of, because like say IBJF where you weigh in, then you're in the bullpen, and then you go straight to it, versus something like what Shane did, where it's 24 hours. I think the protocol is different there too as well.
So much different.
Yeah, but the 24-hour, 12-hour, there's so much you can do there. What grappling industry is morning of, and most people fight in the afternoon.
You
They
can
do
do the
morning
day.
of.
You can do the day before for
Oh.
grappling industries. So when they have the 2-day events, you can weigh in on the first day, even if you're competing on the
Is
second
US
day.
grappling still a thing?
I think they're bringing it back.
They're not here right now, but if they're coming back,
I think they're coming back.
I like
Because that was a 24-hour weigh-in. I remember that.
That was
they were
nice.
fun.
That
I
was
literally
nice.
just put on a thermal, turned the heat up in my car, and just drove there.
Yeah.
And I think I weighed in at 159, and I was like 170 by the next day. I just sweat my way there
We used to do a lot of US grappling.
Yeah, back in the day.
because it would happen right here all the time.
24-hour weigh-ins are luxurious.
Oh my god!
Best.
They're luxurious. Day of sucks. But if it's like by the way, whatever. I have like a no grappling industries policy personally.
Yeah,
I don't like them, but they have really good matches. I just don't like the way they run the tournaments.
because you get pushed back a couple hours.
Dude,
I was supposed to go at 2, and the next
there's
thing you
just
know,
so
I'm
many,
at 6. Yes,
it pissed me off, man. Like during the pandemic, there was one where they like, and I get it. There weren't a lot of tournaments and they were like, it's a business. They want to make money, man. They were because of the massive demand of people wanting to go do jiu-jitsu tournaments and the quite limited supply of them. They had overbooked, and like the smooth comp started like spitting out matches that were going to like 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning.
Jesus.
yeah. No,
And, like,
I
people
remember
aren't gonna
people
get-
pulling mats up. So Layla's last match she did last summer, she fought, and they pulled up all the mats. They turned off the TVs mid-match, so they ran out of time. So she's in the finals or semis, and she's mid-fight, and the TVs go blank. No score, no fucking time, no nothing. Everyone's like, "Whoa, what just happened?" Because they're breaking down all the mats, and the women are still going. Yeah, no, I personally, from a viewer standpoint, hate watching jiu-jitsu matches unless it's like a client or a friend or a teammate that's competing, because like you don't know how long. That's a whole day event. The whole day's scrapped. You get there, you think they're fighting at 1:00. It's now 5:00.
It's
Whereas-
logistical chaos,
Yeah,
and it's like a pain in the ass to like. They're not reliable.
I don't know how Fight to Win made that work. 'Cause
By the
that
way,
was-
Well, Seth is on top of his shit.
Yeah, that
And
was-
Seth
that was
does
good.
so many events he's locked in. Like he's done this. I mean, he's probably done this almost like, I don't think it's a stretch to say maybe thousands of times at this point.
Yeah,
Cause he does
nuts.
like at least, there was one point in time where he's doing like 2 or 3 a month.
That's insane.
It's insane.
The way they
and
structure
it's like a road show, bro.
Yeah.
Like he's all over the country. So,
That sounds exhausting.
I think he's tired. Yeah.
Well, I think
he knows how many people he can book and still put on a good show too.
Mhm.
Whereas I think you run into that with like the grappling industries and a lot of those other tournaments where they just want to get as many people in as possible so that they can fill out divisions and don't actually think about how long is this going to take. Cause I had the same experience as Layla where I'm having my match and they're cleaning up at the same time.
Yeah.
They're moving you while you're trying to get warmed up. And,
Well, I think it's cool this year too in 2025 is the emergence of all these other competitions because there's a lot more happening. We got Fight to Win, we got US Grappling. Copa seems to be happening way more often than I remember. Maybe that's just me being more privy to social media. But I'm seeing like there's another Copa 2 just got announced, right?
There was one yesterday. Oh, you know, another Copa Elite?
Yeah, another Copa Elite. Copa, just a regular Copa has happening. So they're happening more often. NGA now, they're popping up. So they have 3 tournaments on the schedule before winter or before fall. And then and the Fight to Win's back here. There's a lot more opportunity now. So everyone's kind of spreading out throughout.
Yeah, it's getting a lot better. The final thing I'll give one bit of credit to Grappling Industries. The matches themselves are good. They attract good athletes because I think people know Grappling Industries and when you get to the match, you'll have a good competitor. Like they get a good group of people together. Like they attract good athletes. I'll just put it bluntly.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. It's just everything else around it grinds my gears. And so I tell my guys,
there are black belts too.
Yeah, no, again, once you get to that point, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
I tell my guys, I'm like, I don't go to them. If I go to them and it's just going to be like, I decided to do it. It's sort of like how I feel.
Yeah.
But you all can go get your matches. It's just, we're probably going to go for a team sanctioned thing. If you want to think of it that way, we're going to Copas. We're going to places.
Roll deep.
We roll deep, dude.
Very.
And we bring like
40 something people at Copa. The last
yeah,
Copa?
that's right.
That was insane.
We had like 48.
Yeah. I remember a fight to Win. It was like a fucking party.
It was a party.
Yeah,
I feel like for the athletes, that's important, though.
Absolutely.
I've seen that support. You got all your boys there. And quick question for those viewers that aren't necessarily active competitors and whatnot. I like hearing you guys talk about the different like weigh-in times and whatnot. And you said a 24-hour weigh-in is luxurious. Does that mean they're weighed in 24 hours before the event and then they can kind of fuck around and eat whatever they want?
You probably shouldn't eat whatever they want.
Day?
Yes.
Maybe not whatever they want. But you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just
Yeah, that's the point. You can cut more and then recover from the cut.
so again, outsider's
dude.
perspective, oopsies. Are maybe some of the more elite tournaments and whatnot that are harder to get into and maybe invitation only kind of thing? Are those typically not 24-hour? Or is there? It seems like there's no standardization necessarily.
ADCC is 24 and main character is 24.
Okay.
So a lot more of these like paid televised flow grappling ones are 24. I mean, you get crazier fights.
You get better products, man.
Yeah.
It's like if you think about the product that like a viewer is watching, it makes it better for these athletes to have that time to perform at their best. So you're
Because
trying to, like,
they're coming in like,
Fed.
like nutrient fed.
Yeah.
Like they're looking big. They're looking powerful. Like that's another thing about it is they look like imposing pro athletes
Right.
when they have 24 hours to recover.
If you guys were to host your own kind of tournament, what would you do? Would you do a 24-hour weigh-in or what?
It depends on the format, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna do like a show, kind of like Fight to Win or main character or something like that, I think you do the 24. Like if you're bringing in like high level talent and you're trying to put out like an exciting match that the jiu-jitsu world wants to pay a few bucks to stream and watch, I think you got to do that. I think you got to do that. Or you can just do like, depends on the matchmaker. If the matchmaker knows like, hey, you two weigh the exact same thing. Do you guys want to cut to the same thing or walk into the same thing? Like you tell me. You can handle a couple different ways. But versus a tournament, for example, a tournament, I in my opinion, for like, also dude, if I was hosting a tournament, dude, I don't know.
48-hour weigh-ins for everybody. You're welcome, athletes.
That's like some UFC shit where they're like, they give you like 36 hours, but that's another one where they want like, I mean, they want to put on a show. Athletes getting paid a lot of money and like they're selling pay-per-views, man. You gotta make weight. So these dudes will cut massive because now we're talking about money, like big money on the line.
Yeah.
And which then means that these guys are trying to be as competitive as possible. So they're going to be as huge as possible to get to as small as possible. Like just like on the razor's edge.
I mean, just
what
for
their
like
body is capable of. And then refill up, like Mike said, show up to battle effective. And like one person can't be like a skeleton and one dude can't be like fucking Hulk.
Right.
And then I mean, that happens sometimes, but like, you need the product to be exciting so people will spend the $120 or whatever the hell it is to like, with like 10 friends.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Times 1 million around the world or whatever, and like make some fucking money.
Yeah, like an example from UFC last night, time wise, UFC 316, Kayla Harrison was 179 on fight night.
That's her weight class.
135.
Huge, by the way.
179?
She's, have you seen
She's
Kayla?
179.
Dude, have you seen Kayla Harrison?
Fought at 135.
Well, she used to do I think that was the number I had.
She is fucking
Good Lord.
Judo Olympian.
I'm never shaving this
She's
beard.
fucking jacked.
Can't be having that.
That's crazy. She's a unit, dude. She's got traps or yo-yo.
179.
She's got a
no
great
body
strength
fat is
conditioning.
huge.
Oh yeah.
So I think it was the 24-hour check-in or the midweek check-in. She was bigger than all the other bantamweights on the card. So including
she made
the
weight?
How
guys.
tall is she?
She made weight. She won the She won the
Good
strap.
question.
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. I don't know
She's
all of her
a
stats. That was just
six
one I
Physical
saw.
monster.
Is she like
dude.
6 foot like us or?
Yeah. I don't think so. I don't think so.
You're really milking the not having video for
I
this,
know,
right?
That's crazy. But you know what would be great though? To see a tournament, jiu-jitsu tournament, where they did the whole purse thing where they incentivized each athlete to sell tickets so they bring their group. Because I noticed in tournaments that they do that and there's more of their team, their crowd, they fight harder. But then to offset the whole, like, I don't want to lose, let me stall, bring in some of the ADCC stuff where you get penalized for retreating, penalized for slowing down, and they force action. If you can merge those two together, holy fuck.
Fight to Win does a good job at they offer commissions for ticket sales for guys.
Yeah.
I think
It's
part
smart.
of it is. And
That's
like,
how Operation Octagon used to do it too,
Really?
back in the day.
Dude, I
Yeah.
haven't heard that name in so long.
that's like the fourth time I've heard it this week. I didn't know what it was.
We
until,
were
like, 2
talking
days
about
ago.
it
You brought
yesterday.
up. Then Charles referenced it yesterday. He's like, Operation Octagon. I was like, dude, that's weird. Like twice in one day.
Yeah.
You had mentioned it.
Throwbacks, dude.
It is a throwback. But yeah, I mean, I like that too. Plus it gives, it just makes a lot of sense, right? Like the promoter needs to make money. The promoter's willing to pay an athlete. Like these things are not usually big cash machines. They don't just have money just to throw at the
Right.
athletes a lot of times, but it's a no-brainer way to say, hey, look, man, like we need to make money. It'd be cool to pay you guys.
You get what you give.
We want to pay. Yeah, we want to pay. Can you stuff the room with your folks? The tricky thing for Fight to Win is the amount of activity they have. And sometimes like they came to us on relatively short notice. Like I found out like 10 days before my match, I was getting a match.
Oh, wow.
I sold quite a few tickets though, but either way, if you have just a little more lead in time and then like, you know, and again, perfect world.
It was
Perfect world.
packed.
It was honestly, it was a great
It
show.
was like 500 people.
It was a
or
great
something,
show.
yeah.
It really was. But well, we're in a good area too.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of
It's
teams
very dense.
here. Yeah, and like it's DC. Like you can get guys from people will travel from pretty much all over the East Coast. I mean, Seth brought a few dudes from his team who were like working the event, who are good jiu-jitsu athletes. So he's like, yo,
Didn't some of them fight too?
yeah,
I
that's
think
what
that
I'm
Red
saying.
fought,
He threw
right?
some bros in there. They're
Yeah,
like, they're
yeah.
good. Couple guys, I think a couple ladies too. But like, point being, like, I want to say he's based out of like either Colorado or maybe like Vegas or something like that. But like Western United
Yeah.
States. But he brings a crew with him to run the show. Sometimes they get some action too. I think that's a little more like, hey, kind of like role playing. Like, yo, we need someone to finish or to tie off this one match over here against a local guy. This guy's bringing like 8 people or whatever. Like, we can't lose a fight.
Yeah.
Can you step in one of those? And he's got a game group of folks who will do it. But it's like, it's a lean operation, but imagine if they give you like 6 to 8 weeks. I mean, that's a lot,
Yeah.
but like maybe even a month, maybe a little production value.
Yeah,
There
a
was
couple
one point,
weeks.
like this was years ago, man, where he had, and I was on like a pretty good winning streak, and he'd put me and this dude, Billy Wolk, a Philadelphia guy, is like on the main card, and Wagner Hocho's on the card versus JT Torres. Like this, yeah, it was a big,
Dude, yes.
dude, it was a big, it was like, but it was like, I think this was when like Fight to Win was really growing a lot too. And he threw in like a lot of promos. He had like clip promos of me, clip promos of Wagner. I felt awesome. I was like, I'm on the same clip promos as Wagner and JT. These
That's
guys.
sick, yeah.
Yeah, it was sweet. But like a little bit of like, just a little bit of like marketing and push too. And like all of a sudden then like you're getting those 500 people. Maybe it's like 700 or 800.
That's
Mm.
insane.
No, and that might be the difference between him basically paying to run the organization and him getting paid.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, a good amount. I'm sure he does all right, but like that little difference could be like that could be him getting like, all right, now I'm making some damn money.
Yeah, taking
Yeah.
things to the
Yeah,
next level
yeah.
sort of thing.
I mean, he's really, I love what he's doing to continue doing
I
what
think
he's
he
doing.
loves it though.
And
He
this-
loves
and
it.
that is a perfect segue.
Oh,
Right into the actual question we want to talk about today
Oh,
is taking your passion and turning it into your job. So I think everyone here is no stranger to this. We all fell in love with either lifting or jiu-jitsu or both at some point. And then eventually it became our jobs. I'm curious from your guys, I think we may have talked about it on one of our previous episodes.
A non-released episode.
A non-released episode, yes.
The forbidden episodes.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that.
Join our Patreon when we make a Patreon.
That's right.
First, take me through the arc of you were training, and then eventually you're coaching, and then eventually you're in the ownership route, and now your training becomes a job. How did that affect you? How did it affect your training? And then how did you reignite that fire? Because I think all of us fell to the same issue, which is it became a job.
Yeah.
Which sometimes can suck the life out of the fun of why we did it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm actually on my third round of passion to work. So
You're on your third season.
this is my third round of following passion again. So
Welcome back.
I have a lot.
Let me stretch out for this.
You're making the
for this
trilogy.
question and
Yeah.
answer. All right. Dude, that's a really good topic. All right. I guess the first thing is, where do you want me to start? You asked a couple questions in that. You're like, you kind of framed it around training.
Yeah,
right?
let me just kind of like give you like a spark notes of mine to kind of give you. Yeah. So essentially, coaching, training, that ended up leading into me first training, and then it eventually led into people being like, "Hey, can you train me?" And then I started coaching, and then coaching became a thing where I'm like, in my mind, everyone told me this wasn't possible to be like a full-time job, make it a career. This is always like a side thing you do on the side of college. So I'm doing that. And eventually things start picking up and I'm like, oh, this can actually be a real thing. And then I start coaching more and more and more. And at the time I'm still competing. I was very active in competing. And now the competition was less for about fun and more of like, I need to hit these accolades to prove myself that I am a good coach. Cause I also need to put it and get the medals, etc. And then eventually it just turned into a point where I'm coaching, I'm competing, I'm lifting, but now the pressure of competing well, lifting well did two things. Killed the passion, and it stopped. I don't want to say it stopped me from being able to explore different ways of training and different things, but definitely made it harder to take a step back and do things I sucked at because I was always in this performance mindset. And I think that stalled my potential heavily. And then it got to a point where I was coaching so much that it actually made training not enjoyable because it felt like I was just, because I would, the way I would describe it to people, because a lot of people say they look at our jobs like, this is amazing. You get to do your passion every single day.
But you love it.
Yeah, but you
People
love
always
it.
tell you that.
And it's like, well, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're in your cubicle all day working with your coworkers. And then with those same coworkers, you change your clothes, you go back to the cubicle, and now you do your activity with those same coworkers. And then you change your clothes again and do your next activity with the same coworkers. You're doing everything all day, every day in the same four walls. It gets mind numbing after a while. So I had to find new ways, especially when I stopped competing, because the last time I competed in anything was 2019. So for me, it was like I had to reinvent that like love cycle with what I was doing to come back to it and have it not feel like a job and more fun again. But that took, I've been doing this 15 years. That took a long time. I would say I probably figured that out 2 years ago. But I went through like a 5-year lull of fuck, dude. Lifting, training, everything is just like a drain because it feels like a job.
It's a labor of love.
Yeah.
So for you to full circle. So this last time that you kind of fell out in love with the training, coaching, that kind of stuff, what got you back in it? Or are you still in a lull?
No, I'm out of the lull definitively now. And I see the passion for it because now I don't get the drive and excitement through my own. It's now when everyone else hits their accolades and their PRs and their medals, etc. It's, if not the same, probably more of a high.
Like Shane winning his fight. You're just like, hell yeah,
dude, yeah.
all that work.
Yeah, dude, we're sitting there watching Kim, Shane, everybody, Philippe, everyone compete yesterday. I had the phone out. And then every time they would do something, I'm like, oh yeah, let's get a drink, let's chill. This is a good night.
You need like multi-screens.
Yeah, I was going to say, I imagine he has like a bat cave. He has a bat cave for watching all of his fighters.
Palpatine.
Yeah.
World domination. But no, man.
The NBBC command center.
Exactly. Dude, we need one of those. Put one up there.
I might not ever leave.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
That,
yeah.
right?
See, then we're back to the same cycle.
I like that.
But what about for you guys?
Well said. By the way, I get it, man. I can relate.
How long have you been training first?
20 years.
How long have you been coaching?
18 years.
And then how long have you been in ownership?
8 years.
Okay, perfect. Just for reference for the viewers. Just for reference.
But I mean, dude, okay, so very interesting subject. And in a lot of ways it is the same like arc of experience and relationships with the requirements of all of these different roles, because I think dude, I have a lot to say. I'm going to try to make it all make sense. But I'll start with the 8 years. I'll work backwards. The 8 years of business ownership, you very much like I think there's always that, like, here's the thing. I bet you've never left the gym in the last like 15 years. Right. And I've never left the gym either. So I think at the end of the day, even like maybe looking back, I find myself also in a very good, like, healthy balance of like passion, excitement about all the different roles that I have, like hats that I wear or whatever.
Right.
I'm in a good spot with it. But, yeah, I mean, there are times where it becomes very taxing. You kind of have to remember like why you're doing it, what you're doing. And the other thing too is like, again, looking back on it, like I've always been in the gym. I haven't taken time off, which I think tells me like, I've always enjoyed it. Even the times when you're like, this is fucking difficult because it's work.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes work. It comes at you quick.
Yep.
Where that passion,
it fizzles out a little bit,
man. And you have to like, but it's again, it's like, it's very hindsight of me to say this, but like, I was always on the mat. Even on like the days where I'm like, this is fucking a grind, man. I just still did it. I still liked it.
You almost end up in like a loop of burnout.
No, totally.
Yeah.
But I guess, but like I always wanted to do it. You always probably wanted to be here doing like something physical, pushing weight, being in the room with your team. But yeah, to be specific, let's like, okay, so in 2017, when we launched District Martial Arts, it was around the time I was a new black belt and I really wanted to start competing a lot more. I'd been competing a little bit, like we were doing a lot when I was a brown belt, a lot. And, but it wasn't also like the most, organized, a lot like our podcast, and, intentional and strategic. But I was like, you know what? Like I hadn't competed at that point in many years. And I remember at a certain point telling myself, I'm like, you're just going to go do it. I'm going to go eat. Even if it's not like the most strategic version, like I guess I got to go get reps.
Yeah, let's get
For
out
a lot
there.
of the same reasons, like I want to be able to validate what I'm doing and demonstrate value to people. It's always sunny.
Yeah.
Demonstrate
the
value.
old dentist system.
You gotta like prove the concept. You want to prove the concept a little bit. And also just like you have your own personal, it's not just that. It's like this, it excites me. I want to do it. I want to go win some things. I want to test myself. I also think we talked about this on one of the podcasts recently too, where it's like, it also helps you become a better instructor too, to understand like when you have to do something right. If you have something that you can convey to your students, is maybe more martial artsy version, but same thing for lifting too. Like you got to end up, you either do it or you don't, either lift it or you don't, right? But you either win the match or you don't. Like you have, I wanted to get a better understanding of that thing I'm conveying to people. And I thought that like competing, it served multiple purposes. One, like it's good for the business. I can prove to people that like we have something that we have a winning concept here. I want to do it for myself, and then I want to be able to explain it to my customers.
Mm-hmm.
Like this has been tested. This shit it'll get the job done. So all of those things. But at the time when I was competing, like I was saying, it was like a little bit like kind of like wild. I was going out and I was getting that experience. Also in that position too. Like my coaches were remote. Like I wasn't direct. I was kind of doing it by myself.
Right.
I know.
So,
which is another thing we could talk about at another time.
absolutely.
And even
Which is
if we
tricky,
were
man.
competing at the same, even if we were going to the same events, we were usually competing at the same time too. So we were both just on the mat.
Solo.
Like both
So not
solo.
a huge support system.
Right.
That's
So
gutsy.
how has coaching and competing changed? Actually, let me phrase this. How has coaching changed the way you look at jiu-jitsu, but also how you compete? Because like for me, I'm a firm believer coaching made me better because it makes you cut out the fat and realize what is the actual key points to actually focus on. What are the principles of that you need to focus on that makes this specific thing work?
Oh, I'd
So-
agree with that for sure.
So how did it affect your competing? Like, do you think it allowed you the space to be a little bit more loose and try things? Or do you think it kind of forced you into showcasing?
I think it's simplified everything for me. So on my end, like rather than trying to pick up all the flashy things, I'm more focused on developing the system that works for me. And that also translated into coaching because rather than trying to teach a bunch of different stuff, I try to focus on like specific, in most of my coaching when I'm teaching classes and stuff like that is very focused on like the concepts of each, like when you're going through the motions of going through competition and like, it's all those concepts of like how to score, where you should be taking your breaks. Like these are the positions that you should be looking for, even if you're not necessarily looking to do a move. So like it's made everything simple and developed everything into like, for me, it gives everything kind of a framework that you're working within versus just which, for better or worse, because some people are doing this to just learn jiu-jitsu, but it gives me a framework within which to teach, because I know that this is the path forward for how to win competitions using the style that I use.
So it created more focus and purpose behind what you're doing.
Exactly.
It cuts to the fat.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Trimmed it out.
Yeah, it gets to like when you can explain, in a coherent and simple way to your students that what I'm showing you is going to work. I've done it when I needed to do it. He, she, who you can list a couple more students who have done it too. Like it just, like you said, it cuts through all the, I was gonna say bullshit, but,
it's a valid word.
Bullshit's fun.
It's a valid word.
Fun too. Like we can do fun stuff too.
Yeah.
We've talked about this a bunch of times. Like sometimes you gotta like train and like
side quests and stuff.
Do some crazy shit that's like fun too. Like you just have some fun. Doesn't always need to be like what's gonna
fully optimize.
Yeah.
You can have your wild moves every once in a while.
But at the same time, like you said, like I think that's like maybe a set and setting thing and like audience dependent as well. Like it depends on who you're talking to. Like if I'm talking to Shane and dude's got a fight in 4 weeks, it's like, hey, we don't really have time to fuck around with crazy bullshit.
Yep.
Like we're not doing barambolas to heel hooks. They couldn't even heel hook in Delaware, by the way.
What?
Yeah, the amateur rules there don't allow heel hooks. Point B, I know. Jaw
Too many
drops.
people snapping their shit.
Dude, I'll put it this way.
You have to pay sales tax for heel hooks. That's why.
That's the one thing that got sales tax on.
But for what it's worth, like the amateur system there, they've thought a lot about like the guys who have like part-time jobs and are like, hey man, do you want to the dude last night got his arm broken. He didn't have to, but like they're trying to protect amateur athletes who are just doing this to potentially develop a career, or like even if they're not, like they're doing it for like it's like a fun thing they do. That maybe they're hobbyists or whatever, but they don't need to be fucking crippled on Monday. So like I get it.
I'll give a counter argument, which is I think it's the state's duty to prepare these athletes who are amateurs who have aspirations to be professional of what they're going to get themselves into.
Virginia lets you do that.
100%.
Yeah.
And Virginia does it across most sports.
Virginia.
Shout out to Virginia.
By the way, if you guys didn't know where we are, now you know.
Hey, dude, I think it was voted the number one state to do business
That's right.
recently. Hey, that's fair.
Yeah.
I get it.
But you know what I'm saying? Like it prepares them. Yeah. So I think it's tough, man, because I teeter with that in my head too. It's like, how strict do we be with them? But it's like, if you coddle them now and show them like, hey, it's okay now when they go and become pro or they go do bigger meets or comps, it's like
they get their cheeks clapped
and they go against and they go against someone like Shane who doesn't give a fuck and is like, hey, you signed the contract.
He's there to kill. Well, yeah, dude. By the way, that's a perfect example. You can create whatever rules you want. It's still dangerous.
Yeah.
You didn't do a heel hook and he broke a guy's leg or broke a guy's arm. Like guy could have tapped. Like to your point, like it's dangerous no matter.
But he was prepped here.
He was prepped here.
He's prepared.
He's a weapon, bro.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
he's so nice.
I digress.
It's so fucking annoying.
He's the nicest
and he's
guy.
tall.
But he's a savage.
He's a beast.
But anyways, like it's like, but the point was with him, like if he's got a mission, and like I'm as a coach, I'm gonna spend time on like, hey, you have a mission. That means we're gonna do the shit that we know is gonna work. Like I guess you have an entire career to like figure out. You want to do some flashy stuff. Like we'll still get that on like he's in the gym enough to like expand his skill set into like other things
and sprinkle in that little bit of fun kind of thing.
Totally,
keep it fresh.
That kind of I think that's like a little bit of like self exploration. You can still do that stuff, but like in a fight, like hey man, we're gonna focus on like what's gonna work. So for a guy like that, it's gonna be like meat and potatoes, battle tested content. Because I mean, like what if that other dude broke his arm? Like people are it's a blood sport, man. It's a hurt game. Like so, we're gonna make him as effective as possible. All right, contrast that with someone else on the team who's doing this for fun. And like, maybe we can afford to be like, hey, I'm going to give you a little bit of both. So when it comes to informing like how you want to teach, dude, we talked about this in another episode too, this without deviating too much, but I think it's related, like the psychology of like understanding like your different customers, what they all want and need, how it's a little bit different. Nakapan kind of talked about this at our training session where it's like knowing the person who's walking in. What do they want to do, man?
Right.
Dude. Yes. Shout out
to the goat.
But I actually have a question for you guys because this has been a debate that I've been having with some of the other gym owners this week. I forget. It's like money.
Were you debating, dude? I should have been on that debate, just screaming like a scene.
On the panel.
I'm on the same side.
It's not even. It was just like a discussion, like after all the practices and just lifting and whatnot. But mostly on the jiu-jitsu side, I've been talking with some of the coaches, and it's so John Danaher and Gordon Ryan were on a podcast with Moneybag something, whatever that.
I've seen that guy, Derek Moneybag.
Yes,
he's got a Bentley.
Does he?
I think so. He posted. I was like, oh man, I followed him. I was like, sick, dude. I was like,
All right, that's pretty dope.
his name is Moneybag or Moneybird, or I was like, sweet name, brother.
Wait,
I'm
that's
like,
his actual
Yeah.
last name?
fucking
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
It's something like that.
How'd I get stuck
So,
with Craig, bro?
I'll
fact,
send him
how-
over.
how-
Yeah.
I got
Craig's a
Craig, he
good
gets
name,
money
dude.
back?
That's my dad's name. That's a tough name.
Hey.
So fun fact, how Scott and
Yeah,
I
it
met,
is.
I'm not even going to say what the car was, but he posted a car
Mhm.
online because we were already in the same group chats and whatnot. So we kind of like knew each other peripheral, but we never met face to face. But he posted something on Instagram of a specific car. And I was like,
Does it rhyme with
You?
splendid?
and he looked at, it was like one of those scenes like in Deadpool, like you too. And I was
It's like right when we
oh.
first met.
Yeah.
He was, damn, he's like, let's talk.
I was like, is this yours? And he's like, yes. I was like, you into
Let's
cars?
talk.
And he's like, yes. I was like, we need to talk.
Let's talk.
Ah.
And now we work together. Look at us
Yeah.
now.
I
One
know.
thing I just got to chime in before it escapes me. When you were talking about you guys first competing and whatnot, and now you're coaches, and it was kind of Wild West, and maybe you weren't doing everything in the most logical manner or constructed or whatever. Part of that, I think, is why you are as successful, Scott and Mike, as you are now, because you went through that phase of Wild West. And even if it wasn't the smartest thing at the time, hey, you know what? Maybe don't have our fighters go solo. They need a support system there. Hey, I've been through this firsthand. This is what we should not do. And I think nothing beats that firsthand experience that you both have.
Yeah, I think
I'd agree with that.
yeah, man. Well, I'll take it. But I think part of it is like you kind of look at looking back at that, like you only have one life to live. And dude, at the time, it's like sort of like you have to like audit the resources around you. And you're like, well, I mean, I don't have. I mean, I was experienced enough. I can go. I wasn't like completely raw. Like we're gonna go in and we're gonna do this. I'm not uneducated, but I don't have this infrastructure of support. What am I gonna wait around for that forever? Perhaps I could have, in retrospect, maybe sought that out a little bit more. Hey, you know what? Hindsight, but go out and do what you can with what you've got. And like you said, it's like, that's research and development. That's R&D.
Mhm.
So went out and did it. And then to your point, I think too, like as coaches and like what we take that experience and just to simplify, I think it's like, it's our jobs to take that experience and provide that support and infrastructure for the people who are now paying us or under us in some capacity to say, learn from my mistakes, learn faster, do better than I did in a short amount of time.
Right.
Because we did these things. And I'm like, yeah, I could tell you. I mean, by the way, sidebar comment, I've competed by myself lots of times, including when me and Asim were just texting, like recently.
Mhm.
I like weirdly do pretty well when I'm on my own.
Yeah, solo
do-
missions.
I don't know what
That was wild.
I
And
like
you
it.
drive
Maybe
there?
I like get into like
This
this
man
weird
is
like
wild.
Jason Bourne. I like act like I'm like Bond or
We just sat
Jason
on
Bourne.
the
Yeah,
phone
I'm like,
on his
I don't
drive
need
there.
anybody.
just
He
going on a
gets
solo
a-
assassination mission. It's kind of nice. I like it.
Yeah, I feel
Travel
that.
to wherever. I'm like,
But me Slade.
I like that.
Yeah,
Hey,
it was
I
good.
like that.
It was a good time. Easy cut too.
It
Easy
was.
weight cut.
That was a
always.
success story.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's like, I mean, maybe I just learned to do that. I don't know. Well,
I mean, just enough times going in solo too. Like you just kind of you get used to it, right?
So let me ask you this then, because I was of the belief of this for most of my career. It's part of the reason I competed for so many years. I think like 8-9 years straight I competed. But I'm curious to know what your thoughts are, because I'm starting to question this train of thought. Do you think a coach if a coach is coaching competitors, they had to have competed? Because I originally was of the mindset that you need to speak the language and know what that feels like for them to not only believe what you're saying, but also to get them there. And I think as time goes on, I'm starting to question that. And the reason I'm questioning that is because if you can replicate it and point at people that they're more relatable, because we're not really relatable because this is our job. We're supposed to be good at what we do. I'm starting to question that because for a long time I believed that. And I was like, well, how do you know what this feels like? How do you know what this is like? You know?
I would think from a marketing yourself as a coach standpoint, that's where the experience of actually competing is more valuable. But there's plenty of people who are excellent coaches that don't or haven't competed, because they understand the game enough and they're really good at evaluating other people and everything in real time,
Mm-hmm.
which not all competitors are actually good at evaluating what's happening on the mat.
Yeah.
They're really good at executing. They're not necessarily, they're athletes.
But
They're
not
not
coaches.
necessarily good at seeing everything happening from the outside. They're just good at assessing the situation while they're actively competing and they have their hands on it. But yes, there's people that can do both. It doesn't sell you as a coach better because you say, well, my methods are great because I'm able to, it works. I've won X, Y, and Z competitions, hold X, Y, and Z titles. But there's plenty of guys who are awesome coaches because they can say everything the right way. They see what's happening and they're able to understand the mind of their competitors too and are able to communicate with them while everything's going on.
I think you said it perfectly right there. And that's where I'm starting to tinker with it in my head is there's the athlete coach, and there's the coach. And I think the coaches do a really good job of what you said, communicating. They spent their career trying to become better communicators to convey a message and package to their athlete in a concise way. Cause in mid-match, things are happening quick. So they're able to do that. Whereas an athlete just does things, they can't really necessarily explain why they just move their hips that way versus that way. They just do it. So that's where I'm tinkering with it. Cause for a long time it was like, oh, you had to have competed.
A really good coach can basically be the athlete's brain too. Like you can be their brain holder on the mat or in the ring.
Freddie Roach versus Tyson.
I will say from an outsider's perspective though, if I had the choice to choose a coach who had been a competitor in the past or whatever and was gearing me up for a competition versus somebody who's maybe extremely perceptive and able to articulate, hey, this is what you're doing wrong. It's just, what we're going to encounter or whatever. I would probably tend to go with the coach who had actually had that first hands-on experience personally.
What if that coach had a massive list of competitors who also already had tons of accolades underneath him, though? Would that change that mindset?
A coach who was not a competitor but did have a ton of accolades under him?
Like had a bunch of athletes.
What he's saying is
coached
guys who came to him already being winners. Is that what you're saying?
Or he has coached them to winners.
Either
way.
This is the question. This is the question.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, I think there's multiple, and we have all seen this. My opinion, I think most people to be like most effective coaches have to have some degree of experience. I think either whether you have it or you don't, you have to prove it with results. It's rare, but they're out there. There are coaches who don't have a ton of hands-on competitive experience, but then produce champions.
Right. But when he executes, it's like precise.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But he can also demonstrate that. He can say like, hey, here's my resume. Look at the dudes I've produced.
I think an example of that kind of not in the jiu-jitsu world or I guess kind of lifting, but in bodybuilding, I don't know if Hanny Rambod had competed himself in the past.
There's more Olympians than anyone else.
But he has produced everybody. Yeah. And again, he's got a little frog tummy on him. He's not the most jacked guy in the world, but he's created some monster bodybuilders. So
he knows how to produce champions.
True. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
You got me second guessing myself.
Look at the coaches of every single Super Bowl team. They're all fat.
So to be a good coach.
But, it's...
I'm just kidding.
But at least those guys can show that. It's like, but that's going to be a lot more difficult.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay,
you
fair.
can still do it. Like, I mean, there are dudes that do it. Like I said, Cale Sanderson, Penn State, was like an undefeated I forgot his resume was nasty.
120 something, 140 something in O.
Crazy.
It was like mid 100.
One of the best.
And look at him now.
Yeah.
Look at him. I mean, Penn State's the best program in wrestling. And he's got a trillion fucking champions, Olympians and shit, dude.
But I think that helps breed that confidence of like, I can go to war for this guy.
100%.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
There's different types of like leadership and
he's also in there beating all of his athletes on the mat still. Like Bo Nickel has a story about it where he's like, he has never beaten Cale Sanderson in practice.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane. But I think now I'm like, as I'm hearing you guys, I'm starting to like think, I wonder if it's just more valuable to have competed early stage in your coaching when you don't have the bodies to prove the product.
Definitely. Well,
and then as you start
I think it helps, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like if you're trying to recruit a potential student athlete or whatever, like you have to have something, you have to have some mechanism to charm them into thinking that you're a person worth following.
Yeah.
So any resume, I mean, legitimately, or you're just slick. Like I said, if you speak well, I mean, that's life for you. But, yeah, I mean, I think, again, most people who can do that, who can say, I've done all these things, like, I think that gets that trust. That's like your sales pitch. And so, yeah, like those probably 9 out of 10 times that hype, that like experienced coach who can show the resume it's going to have a quicker return on it. I don't know.
Also for the coach's mindset too. I feel like coaches are people. Coaches are people.
Yeah.
And their confidence gets shaken as well sometimes. But when you're able to reflect back on your athletes and accolades and whatnot, that instills, I would imagine, a lot more confidence in you.
Yeah, I think what started making me question it was, I don't think I got any clients from my competitions. It was always from my clients competing and doing well, or the posts of them doing well, their transformations is what led to us getting more clients. It was never anything I did.
But nonetheless, you produce you produce the results.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then we showcase that and it's like floodgates.
There you go.
I post my stuff and it's like,
your results.
Like, this is gonna be sick video.
Your results as a competitor will bring in the first few people, but I think your results as a coach will bring in more people.
Yeah.
Well,
I think you're seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
In real time.
Yeah,
right
we're
now.
realizing that now more and more. Because I mean, especially all the competition, we're in peak competition season. It kicked off like a month ago, so now it's just like every weekend there's something.
Is that a thing? Summertime is go time
in jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
I think now
It's more this year.
There's a lot. It's because of what you said earlier about the multitude of new events that are out there. Like main character wasn't a thing 2 years ago.
Mm-mm.
It just wasn't. Depends on the league.
ADCC wasn't as
Also,
often. Dallas is next
ADCC
weekend.
Jiu-Jitsu-
That's right.
Jiu-jitsu is kind of becoming bigger as a competitive sport too. It's growing a lot.
UFC
Right
just
now,
picked it up.
yeah,
Holy
yeah.
shit,
There you
dude.
go.
And they're about to get sued by Craig Jones and Pitt.
But you got UFC backing, you got celebrity backing. Jiu-Jitsu is blowing up. To be on the front side of that wave is a blessing. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to your point, dude, it used to be that people would follow the IBGF calendar to answer your question. It was, And then you have like a gi season and a no gi season. And that was kind of the seasonality. And it depends on what the athlete was doing. Gi Worlds was like 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Mhm.
Recent. That was a big thing for gi athletes. Of course, they'd build their training around that. Then they would shift gears into no gi. And I mean, that's kind of still there.
It's like
Right.
winter training arc versus summer training
Right.
arc.
I was
yeah.
about to
Yeah.
say, is gi like winter?
Yeah.
Bundle up and then no
That's
gi
how-
summertime?
That's
That's
what
how
they say.
it used to be. Now it's like all year round.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all year
No
round.
gi is
If
way
you
more
want to be a
popular.
world champion, it's all year round.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm. True.
Yeah. But I mean, so there kind of is, they're kind of, now it's just all the time.
Yeah.
Like Asim said.
Yeah. Because
You
last
pick your
week,
battle.
last
Yeah.
weekend there was multiple. This past weekend there was multiple. Next week is what? Grappling Industries. We got ADCC, Dallas. There's another one that's happening, I think, like Central. And then the weekend after that, there's another. I think we have like a week break. And then we're into Miami. It's crazy.
Well, Miami.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's gonna be fun.
It will be
Miami.
fun.
You going to that?
Miami.
Good.
We should.
I might.
We will.
I think I will.
Road trip, boys.
Don't threaten me with the good time.
You already dressed for it.
Dude, I'm always ready for Miami.
He's always dressed for
Hey,
Miami.
dripped out.
Yeah.
He lives in Miami.
I split my time is what I say.
You got the tan.
I split my I'm trying, dude. Yeah, I'm going to try to ride the sand.
Only man who has a tan while it's rain
Dude, I was
season
peeling,
here.
dude. My fragile white skin got kind of scorched. Can you? Nah, I think I've peeled
a little
everything
bit.
off now. Just getting a base.
Yeah.
God, we're some yappers, boys. I was just looking. I feel like we've only been talking for like 15, 20 minutes. This is like an
We're
hour.
going on an hour.
We can talk.
It's
for
been
sure.
1 hour
Yeah.
with you guys. Oh,
Oh,
fuck
welcome to you
that,
guys with
dude.
a long
Fuck
commute.
that.
But essentially, you're saying everyone has gone through the same work.
Yeah, dude, 100%. Yeah, look, go through the arc. I guess that was my way of putting a pretty picture on it.
I
Sort
think
of like,
this
we never
podcast
really
is
stopped.
perfect for the ADHD mind.
Yeah.
It's just squirrel brains left and right.
That's how we do it.
But yeah, I mean, you're gonna have, it's the I think the type of work that we're all doing requires, it's just disciplines built into it.
Mm.
And, when you become a business owner, like you have to have discipline or your business is going to fail.
How often, how many times a week are you both coaching versus how many times a week are you training for yourself? Like-
Oh man.
If you're coaching, you're probably not doing your own training because you're watching the room,
Uh-huh.
etc. So how many times a week would you say you're coaching? And then how many dedicated sessions do you have for yourself?
6 days a week, I'm coaching. Like my days,
wow.
dude, my time is just, I just have to be able to gear shift. Even some of those practice sessions, like the training sessions that I'm in,
Mm.
I mean, there are times where it's tough when I'm at DMA because you're always it's probably like when you're here, when you're lifting, you're still keeping an eye on stuff. Like you're never really,
Early on, I used to go to
Shifting.
other gyms and lift.
yeah,
Just
that's not a
that
bad
way
move,
I could just
man.
be like,
Yeah, I'm just here to
blank.
lift. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the last time I could do that, but but it gets for what it's worth. I think it's a challenge, but it's a good challenge. It's not. I don't think it's a major barrier
So
because
6 days a week coaching. How many days of that are you training yourself?
6 days a week I'm
Six.
training minimum at least 2.
And then how
I don't know.
many?
You tell me you don't let me have
And
that
it-
rest days.
I was going to say, that's the next
What are
question.
you
How
doing
many-
to him, dude?
And this is not a
Buddy.
test. How many days a week are you lifting?
Fuck. Oh, I don't know. How many am I lifting? 6 days? I don't even know. I just look at the app and I do it. Some of those
Like
days are
today's
cardio
gonna hurt.
days.
Yeah.
Some of those days aren't technically lift days. Some of those
Sure.
days are cardio days.
Yeah, yeah,
Tuesdays
yeah.
I've been doing cardio. You got me running and shit.
6 days in the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. some of those days, like it's just a gear shift. Like I'll go to someone else's class, and even though it's at my gym, I'm still looking around, I'm keeping an eye, but it can be a little bit more about me than if I'm teaching the class.
Yeah.
Thursdays are a meat grinder day for me. Asim doesn't let me have Thursdays off. I don't really want them off either.
It used to be.
Thank you.
But not anymore.
It's not anymore. It's not. But fuck it. We're doing it, man.
Yeah.
And like, dude, there are days where I'll get up in the morning at like 6 a.m. I'll teach a private lesson or 2. I'll get out by like 8:30, shower, check some emails, do whatever I got. Like, I'm just like fucking triaging what the important thing I need to do is. All right, get it done. Okay, I allocate my hour or so to do whatever torturous things Asim's carved out for me. I do it. I go home, I shower, I munch down whatever food I have to like survive that day.
Yep.
Fuck around for another couple hours. I go into district martial arts around like 4:30, 4:45. I teach my first class, not lesson, class of the day at 5. That's about the students. But you plan this stuff out. Like this is kind of like what we talked about earlier. I think part of the fun of I'm putting a pretty picture on it for sure. The fun of the position that we're in is that like you have to be able to gear shift. You have to be organized. I'm not naturally an organized guy. I like organization, but I've learned to like it.
Mm-hmm.
You're the same way. I'm looking at you. I know you,
Have you seen my office?
well, excuse me, that's funny. But like, you have to and by the way, I know I need it, man. So I'm like, dude, organize yourself. So like, all right, I got to get organized. So like, I've planned out. I mean, I have a monthly curriculum. Like, there's stuff that I do now that's part of my job description that like helps me be prepared for like a Thursday, which is like probably my busiest motherfucking day.
Yeah.
And it's like the 4th day that I'm just getting slashed all the days before that too. So it's like,
It's just the most brutal day of the week by far.
And for whatever goddamn reason, I put it towards the end of the week when I've been working all the other days before. But let's fucking do it, man. Let's go.
And somehow
I'm freaking
still wakes up.
games,
Somehow he still wakes up at 5 o'clock some days.
That was a weird day. I
wake up in the morning. I'll just send a series of like
weight 5 questions.
checks. Yeah, like weight checks or whatever to a bunch of athletes, and then he'll respond like within 5 minutes. I'm like, why are you awake right now, bro?
Sometimes
I haven't left my bed yet.
I kind of feel like we have to go like,
late.
who's going to text the other guy first or who's going to text the guy latest?
Yeah.
Anyways, in response, he texted me last night. And I was like, oh yeah. And he's like, oh.
It was like 1:30 in the morning.
To get the message today. Well, but all right. Yeah, dude. Like,
Yeah.
hey, fucking let's go, dude. You only have once.
Exactly. Enjoy.
I like the challenge, man.
Pedal to the metal.
Thursday's tough, man, but it's okay. So I teach at 5 and then I wrestle at 6. And in wrestling, yeah, I'm keeping an eye on dudes because it's in my gym. I have teammates. There's some people who like are my students in that room that I just make sure that things are going on, but I'm a student in that class. So I can kind of like, for me, and that's a fucking tough, it requires your focus. So when I'm wrestling, like I just have to wrestle. I can't really do I'm not good enough to like, jiu-jitsu can maybe like sit back in my garden, kind of like watch 5 people and like do some shit and like repel someone and just be like, oh, what? Like I can do that.
Yep.
Wrestling, I can't. I'm not good enough. But like, it's cool because but at point being, I get to just wrestle. That class ends and I teach again. Teach at 7. Like I'm usually covered in sweat. So I hydrate for like 6 minutes. I put some music on. I line people up. I bow them in. I teach again. That again, it's about the class, but I've already mapped it. I know what I'm going to do. I've already planned out what my class structure is going to be from the curriculum. Like the work's been done for it. That wraps up around 8. I call it jokingly office hours. Like 4 or 5 students want to talk to me for a period of time about whatever. But like, dude, to me, I'm in the office. It's just a long day. Yeah. So I'll go as long as I need to. I'll talk to people about they'll ask questions about emotions, about technique, whatever. I'm talking to them. I actually like
what
that.
ifs.
Yeah, all that shit, dude. I like it. I don't mind it.
What if they do this?
So that's
Don't
like
do
20, 30 minutes of shit. And then I just chill. I'm talking that when I put a bow on it, I knuckle up Khaldun or Flavia, whoever's there. I'm like, yeah, all right, guys, good stuff. I'm going to get the hell out of here now. And I go home, I shower, and then maybe I'll order. Sometimes I cook and I'm like, I have nothing left in the tank when I cook. Or I
what do you
text
cooking?
or I text it steak.
Yeah.
But
Shout out Big Steak.
But when you're like running on like
On
minimal
E kind of thing.
flexibility, dude, and I'm like, hey man, I'm in mission mode, dude. What am I gonna fucking pig out unless the team says I can? And sometimes I do. I'm like, I get out the ribeye, I put it on the stove, I flip it again, seasoning, and then I munch it, and I'm like, you know what, this is like a good day.
It's nice, yeah.
I didn't pig out. Like I can sit there at the end of the day and be like, all right, man, I ate pretty good, I ate pretty clean, I ate what I needed to do, I did all the jobs. Friday's kind of like I do like meetings where it's more like I can be like more executive function, less like operational. I mean, that shit's always there, but I'll do some stuff and then I can also like just sit back and like decision make a little bit more.
With a clear head because you get today you're all
but yeah, exactly. That's what I try to do. And then at least it's like crescendo to an extent. Like Fridays are a little bit more flexible. He'll have me do some like chest. He has me do bro shit. He does and like the accountability of these sorts of things, or maybe students lose or whatever it may be, or losing in business. losing with girls, whatever. But you just losing and then saying, fuck, man, like I have inputs, I have data, like I'm getting signals that like things should be adapting and changing, and you get coaches to hold you accountable to, and buddies, man.
And I was about to say that because Layla actually said something to me a couple of weeks ago. Probably was like maybe a month and a half ago. She was like, since you've been like, because you and I, we talk almost every day.
All the time.
And then Knock and I, we're on the phone every single day. And there's a few other guys, you and I talk every single day. And I see you literally every day.
Yeah. You're so lucky.
Yeah, right.
See all of our friends. He's stuck.
And he's like this energy-wise every single time, regardless of how busy. It's crazy.
Someone asked me.
Yeah, right?
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I'm just kidding. No, she was like, you just seem happy and more fired up. And I was like, well, it's easy to be when, because you have those days where you're like, oh, man, it's a lot. Because I mean, I'm managing over 400 athletes right now on a daily basis. And then on top of that, doing my own training. So I'm sitting there managing all that stuff, helping out with the team here, the facility, our future growth, etc. But then like being surrounded by like you guys in that chat and just talking with you guys every single day. In my mind, I'm like, if there's ever a moment, and it's really rare, where I'm like, I can rest a little bit. Oh, I'm gonna chill. I sit there and think, well, what the fuck are these two guys doing? What are these other guys doing right now? And I'm like, nah. I'll rest tomorrow. Not today. I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, I'm like, nah. And it's just easy. It's fun, easy. Yeah, it's too much fun.
It's fun.
And then now we have like the little game going right now, the numbers game, right?
I
don't want to air it out on there, but we have a little comp going, and that just makes it even more fun. It's like a video game in sales.
Video game in real life.
Yeah, I think it does. I think you get the passion comes back. When you like, I think you have to change things up a little bit too.
Right.
Sort of like about
sometimes it's your ecosystem you gotta change because you gotta surround yourself with the right people that will push you in that. Like I was talking to Flavio this morning because he's jumping on board. He starts with us. He just signed up today, and I was telling him, I was like, wait a minute, so you're full time here? And he's like, yeah. I was like, and you're gonna train with us? He's like, yeah. I was like, dude, you got the best support system because I mean, so many of you guys are training with us right now. It's hard for you to take a day back because you got like 10 guys, 12 guys, 13 guys, whatever it is, that are going to look at you and be like, hey, did you do a workout today? Hey, did you do nutrition? Like, you got everyone holding each other accountable. It's so freaking important to surround yourself with people in each one of these little pockets.
Now, Flavio says he doesn't listen to our show. So we got to land faster.
I'm going to send him links right after
this. He goes,
this.
I don't listen to the podcast. I'm like, whatever, Flavio.
Call this episode Flavio.
When he's working out in here, I'm just going to put it on the speaker.
There
we go.
We need to put a QR code on like the door at DMA.
I won't let him leave. I'm just
we should.
Hey,
so that scan out.
I do scan out.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, dude, it takes I mean, there are times where it's going to feel like I mean, it's like any other like, difficult journey that you embark on. It'll feel low, and then you just got to keep doing it. And like, now it's fun. It's fun again.
And there's like something that Layla and I talked about, I think like episode 2, where it's like intrinsic versus extrinsic. Yeah. I might be fucking up those words, but who knows? But the type of motivation, whether it's internal or external, most people are external, some are internal. For me, I was internal most of my life until I started hanging out with other people that were doing just as well, if not better. And I'm like,
ooh.
Oh, now it's double. Because not only is it internal, now the external feedback is there too. So I think it's very important to surround yourself with people that are open and hungry for change and open and hungry for future growth, right? They're either where you want to be or going in the same direction.
So that's an interesting thing too, because I've always been internally motivated, but adding that external thing is what has helped keep me kind of going more. Like it's a lot easier to like get into like a giant black hole of like, just put yourself down if it's just you, right?
Yeah.
But if you have other people kind of around you that are doing the same thing or part of it, it's a lot easier to just continue going with it. It's a lot easier to keep the passion going too. 100%. Like if you have other people kind of going through it, they're also, you see what they're doing, you see their success, you see them wanting you to succeed, and that kind of helps you keep moving.
100%. I think that helps because like you guys have the gear. Like we wouldn't be where we are if we didn't have that extra gear. But it sometimes takes others to show you and remind you, hey, that gear's still there, and you can still slam on that thing. I think that's very, very,
absolutely. That's why I'm still working with you, Asim, because this man there is no excuses. I was at work and I was like, you know what? I forgot.
He said that. His face was so intense when he said
no,
that.
because listen to this shit. So I'm like, I'm at work. I'm all dressed up, whatever. I'm in IT behind a desk, all nerdy and shit. And I was like, oh man, I forgot my gym bag. I'll text Asim and I'll just tell him I'll double up on my workout tomorrow. So I text him a picture, kind of what I'm wearing. I'm like, hey man, forgot my gym bag. Sorry. See you double tomorrow kind of thing. He's like, what size clothes are you? And I was like, why is he buying me a sweatshirt or something? Well, wait a minute. And I just responded. I was like, no, look, And I took a picture of my shoes, and it's like, dress shoes. I was like, yeah, I don't have anything. He's like, dude, you've been to our gym. I have clothes for you here. Take off your shoes and go barefope.
I literally was about to go to Target and buy him a set of clothes.
Excuses. I was like, oh, and I ended up coming in.
I'm just picturing the text bubbles go, then they stop.
Yeah.
And then they go, then they stop. And they go, then they stop. And Nate's just like, fuck.
But that's
shoes?
the thing.
Do I show
That's
shoes? What do I show them?
That is what my ass needs, because while I get these big waves of inspiration and whatnot, those waves end up crashing. And then I go back to normal, and I need someone to kind of keep my ass in gear, like you motherfuckers.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, the guy is not quitting on you.
That's right.
It's easy. You can make excuses for yourself, but they're not making excuses for you.
Can't quit you.
True.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You guys fucking
All right, guys.
All right, we did pretty good.
Anything else? No. All
I
right.
can keep going.
We could keep going.
You want to keep? We can
But
keep
can
going.
the viewers? Let's make them.
They're fine.
They'll be fine.
They're
Hey, listen.
fine.
Someone will binge a couple episodes in a row. It's fine.
So you said this is your trilogy.
Yeah.
Explain that.
So I have a very addictive personality.
I think we're all
I get
here.
like-
I think
Oh,
that's
sorry.
what we're all
Do you want to go to Miami with me? Let's see how addictive your personality really is.
I get super deep into whatever I'm doing. I can only handle like 2 things at a time.
That's pretty good. 2 is good.
No,
Yeah.
sometimes.
Okay.
But so I went full bore, starting graduated high school, went to college, and immediately got deep, super deep into jiu-jitsu, MMA, all of that. I was skipping classes.
Sidebar, actually.
Bad boy.
on that note of college, how wild was that when you walked in here? And
Oh yeah, all so many people I went to college with go here.
yeah, dude,
Oh,
it was
really?
so funny.
Oh,
I come out of the office, and Pete comes up to me and is like, "Hey, did you know that we went to school together?" I was like, "What the fuck?" And then while that was happening, I got a message on Instagram when I shared your guys' podcast, and they're like, "Oh, that's my best friend's neighbor, dude." This
Mike
man
knows
is
everybody.
he's connected with everybody.
He
in this
knows
gym
everyone.
already.
I know
He
everyone.
knew half the 6
That's also just another thing.
He knows everyone.
I make sure to know everybody. I've
a good
figured
skill.
it out. Yeah.
It's a good skill.
It is.
Yeah, I went to college with one of the coaches here and one of the members here.
Eric and Pete.
Probably a few other
Oh.
members here. Who knows? I probably know more people.
There
Yeah.
are some
it's
hidden
just how it
We
workers.
went to the same
happens,
school.
There's
I just
some
dropped
hidden
out.
Find out.
post
Yeah. All probably around, it was around the same time too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we in college, I got super deep into jiu-jitsu to the point where it was my job. Weaseled my way into I had clients. I was getting up at 4 a.m, going from Fairfax, Arlington, training 2 clients every morning, going back to school, driving back to Arlington to coach and train in the evenings, also lifting during the day. I was living the life and just going to class when I felt like it. Sorry, Mom, if you ever listen to this,
Yeah.
but
Worked out.
I passed.
It worked out.
I got good grades.
You look great.
But so
At least one of us did.
School's for fools. Man.
Yeah. I got mostly A's. But so, I was all in on jiu-jitsu and all of that. And to the point where that was it. That was all I was doing. We were competing most weekends.
Is that when you guys met?
Yes. So we met this is at Nova MMA.
Circa 2014, 15.
Oh,
no,
shit.
no,
2014.
no.
Oh, yeah.
We
We were in
met-
school at the
we
same
met
time.
before
there.
that.
Before
Before we start, the deep competition, we were just competing all the time. We were demons. Just always competing and
You
training.
born and raised in the area?
Yeah, I grew up around here. Well, not here, but
And you moved here?
I'm from Kentucky.
Kentucky
now.
Mule.
Kentucky.
My Kentucky
They call
Mule.
me the mule.
I'm about to change your name on my phone.
the mule
What
day.
up?
Kentucky's calling, gotta go, boys.
Muling again.
But yeah, so I was just training all the time and that was the thing and got super deep into it, but then enough people dropping out of fights on me, not getting them made up, and that just started to wear me down. Also, part of that was just cutting weight and going through all the camps and all of that, and people not showing up for fights.
We went to Texas. He went to a full fight camp, full weight cut. We flew
with
our
a
ass
broken
down to
toe
Austin.
too.
You had a fucked up foot, and his
Cut
opponent
20
didn't even show up.
pounds.
That's fucked.
It's fucked, man.
God.
Some
He
bitch
broke
ass
his
local
broke his
guy.
toe during weight cuts.
Allegedly. You're like, so did
Allegedly.
I, motherfucker.
Yeah, I was about
I
to
had
say
a
it.
broken
Bailed out
toe.
on a local fight.
Yeah.
They just don't breed them Virginia does down there.
That's
Down
different.
Texas way.
It's different out here.
They say they're tough, but
The old,
The good old
in the
Shenandoah.
Commonwealth, we stick to our word.
Yeah, we got that Shenandoah strength.
there you go. Shenandoah strength. That's a good one.
Hey, copyright.
Make that a t-shirt. First use right there.
Yeah.
But so like all of that started to burn me out, and there were other behind the scenes factors with stuff going on with the gym and all. We don't need to air all that out. Doesn't matter.
Whatever.
That part doesn't matter. But so I was just starting to get kind of burnt out on it because I was managing the gym, I was coaching, trying to compete, all the competition stuff.
While being a good student.
What's that?
While being a good student.
Well, I was at that point. I was already done being a student.
Done.
Yeah, that was the lead up is the being a student. But after all that, and then needed some more stability I was getting married, and so I was like, all right. So then I found a new passion. I started working in brewing, and so like that's the duo of it. And so I started going into and like got super deep into that because again, I'm all in on stuff. So I got super deep into that. I was still training. I mean, you guys were getting the gym set up, partway through that. And so I was helping out with that a little bit and still popping in and training from time to time. But I was like, the main thing changed. Like I can do like one main focus deep into brewing until like brewing becomes the thing that like now it became the thing I didn't want to do. Like went from like, oh, this is great. I'm like making stuff hands on all the time. Have something made at the end of the day. Did it because I did not want to sit at a desk. And now I'm sitting at a desk running a brewery. I'm like, this isn't why I did this. Like, this isn't the passion that brought me into it. And so I started going deep back into jiu-jitsu. And at first, tell my wife, I'm like, oh yeah, it'll just be a fun hobby thing. And, it's fine. I'll go into a different mindset this time. I'll just do it for fun. And then
she's like, oh, great.
And then, nope. And then
like she doesn't know who he is.
like, sure, Michael.
She's just smiling, holding one of the kids. She's like, whatever you say.
Yeah.
Whatever
sure.
you say.
So around what time is this? Like what year is this around?
So getting back deep into jiu-jitsu would have been like 2 years ago-ish. And then it was like, it's like the first time again. You get like that, like,
that's all coming back.
Get all giddy.
You start feeling the rush again. You start, you start like choking people out and start being like, ooh, I'm ready to do it.
Like it. Choke me again.
Yeah. I love cuddling.
And then you get the idea. You start doing like a tournament again. You go and do a tournament. You win a match, and you're like, I remember this feeling. I remember this feeling. And then it was just fucking all from there. It's like full bore again. Like I was like, this is what I need to do again. I need to do this again. And so now I'm back in that. Quit my job.
You guys watch Lord of the Rings?
Of course.
Remember that King Theoden? He's like, I remember this sword.
Yeah.
That's why he's like, I remember this sword.
Yeah. And I was like, no, like this is the thing I want to do now. Like I'm gonna do this again. Like so, like I refound the passion for jiu-jitsu because like the other things going on at the time, like kind of broke the focus for one, but also like made it hard to tap into the passion again because there was just so much other stuff going on. And like, you're also worried about, you're about to get married. Like you have to think about what does that mean? I'm getting married. Like
you have a family.
I need to, that has to be priority number one, which
right.
It is like, so priorities change a little bit. So you have to be like, all right, well, I need to find the thing that makes that work and makes that a stable thing. And now we're in a place where everything like it's stable. Like I don't have to worry about that anymore. And so once that security's there, now I like get the feel for that thing that you really loved in the first place. And so now I'm back into that. So like reached kind of the pinnacle in terms of like climbed the ladder in the career that I chose to go into, but then found the thing I actually love doing again. Like jiu-jitsu is what I love to do. Like I love doing jiu-jitsu and now I'm back into that. I'm coaching. I don't coach every day like him. Sometimes it's like 3, sometimes 5, depends on if I'm covering classes, but then training 6 days a week. And like, that's just, I don't know. It's just what I'm built for, I guess.
That's awesome. And by the way, next time we do a collab, I want a Sutherland brew.
Ooh.
want to have it over a booski.
Bring him some moonshine.
I'll bring.
Yeah.
Oh,
He used to bring me moonshine.
After hours
Oh,
podcast.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important, man, because like you see so many people live their lives, but they don't live their lives, you know? They kind of just follow like a predetermined path that other people are like, this is what you should do. This is how it should work. But like, and then people look at like the jobs that we have and don't think like, especially early on, like now it's becoming more of a career. But like early on, like how many people were you that told you like, that's not a career. That's not gonna do it. You know, like super
Fuck
early,
them, man. I block
right?
him from my ears.
Yeah. So like, there's one of those things, but it's like, you gotta like envision what you want your life to look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now. It's like, you're fucking sitting there taking orders in a cubicle wearing I don't even know how to tie a tie, you know? Like sitting there doing all this. It's like, I'd rather be doing the thing I like to do. Now you find ways to, I don't want to say necessarily monetize it, but you find ways to make it into a career. And one of the cool things you guys did was do this podcast. Your podcast literally inspired us. Cause like when you brought me on that day, I literally got in the car and
All
Yeah.
4 of us.
by the way, what you guys just missed was a giant fist bump circle. A circle fist bump.
Should we hold hands?
Yes.
let us.
We have a candle in the middle of the room.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
There is actually no other lighting besides this candle.
it's very.
It's romantic as fuck. The romantic as fuck podcast.
Yes, actually, that is going to be the title of this podcast.
I like that. Passion and romance.
Yeah, a man,
Honey,
in
I
his, a
swear.
man in his car.
Yeah, dude. That's right.
Episode 16, bromance.
69. Episode 69 with the guys.
It's gonna be a long ass release date, but no, man, it's like after that podcast, immediately I called him. Like, got in the car, called him. I was like, dude, I'm going to Best Buy right now. We need to do this right now. What are you doing?
He just starts swiping.
And
He's
then
like, I need 4 of these.
No, not even.
I believe you, dude.
I have a problem.
He texted me a picture
us
of the
put, like,
receipt.
step limits.
That he's like, bro, look what I've done. look what you
did
made
to
me do.
It looked like a Cheesecake Factory menu.
It's like a booklet.
Oh my god,
This shit
Yeah,
is a
that's
life
wild.
sentence, man. We're all
Oh,
in it for
it's-
life, man.
it's too much fun though.
It's good. It's good.
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Rock and roll, guys.
Hell yeah. Well,
Well, now
Well,
that is where we should conclude.
there
Yeah,
we go.
absolutely.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
let you guys go.
thank you guys for being on Fighters Drinking Coffee, and
Yeah.
thank you listeners for listening to Fighters Drinking Coffee.
If you made it this far.
Yeah, if you made it
Yeah.
this far, send them where you guys want them to find you.
So on Spotify and Apple Music, the Strong AF Club. On YouTube, Nova Barbell Club. And then on Instagram,
I'm NFC underscore
and
or
I
NF Craig underscore.
am-
My own handle. Good lord. I don't know where I'm sending them.
and I'm Asim _NVBC, and then also Nova Barbell Club on Instagram.
And definitely check them out if you guys are interested in, if you're workout curious or just looking to upgrade your strength and conditioning, definitely check out Nova Barbell Club. We talk about them a lot on the podcast. Asim, who's here with us, is Scott and I's strength and conditioning coach. He is keeping us strong and in shape and undeniable cardio.
Yeah.
Undeniable.
But also for us, Fighters Drinking Coffee, Instagram at Fighters Drinking Coffee. Glad that was still available. Hit us on the Discord. That'll be in the show notes. Join that. We're trying to grow the community there so that we can start to get everybody kind of connected. Then also like, rate, review, subscribe, all the things you can do to keep getting the podcast to you. Definitely the reviews, 5 stars. You know, you can comment whatever you want. Tell us we suck. Tell us all the things you hate about the
We'll
show.
find
what
you
we can
if
work
you tell
on.
us we suck.
Yeah, but we are 5-star men.
You're 5-star men.
So go ahead and hit the 5 stars. It helps us get people to continue listening to the podcast. It moves us up the algorithm, gets us on the charts and stuff like that. So keep doing that. You guys have been doing it so far, so that's great. But keep it up and thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Hey.